Hello students, in this video we will solve physics May-June 2023 paper 062511 is the paper code, and let's start. So which unit is a unit of weight? Weight is a force. So definitely kilogram is a unit of mass. Joule is a unit of work or energy. Meter is a unit of distance. So Newton is the right answer because weight is a force and kilonewton will be the right answer. Option D is right. The graph represents the motion of a vehicle. What is the distance traveled by the vehicle in 400 seconds? Now, in order to calculate the distance traveled by a vehicle, we should calculate the area under VT graph. And the area will be 1 by 2 into base, since this is a form of triangle. So base is 400 multiplied by height. It is 20. So answer is 4000 meter. The diagram shows a distance time graph for an object moving in a straight line. What is the average speed between x and y? So the average speed between x and y will be, if you calculate the gradient here, because it's a distance time graph and the gradient of distance time graphs gives you speed. So gradient is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, means change over y coordinate divided by change over x coordinate. So these values are 12 minus 6, and this is your x1 x2 you can consider, this is your y1 y2, and 30 minus 10. So this is equal to 6 by 20, and it is 0.30 meter per second. So option B is right one. A space rocket travels to the moon. The acceleration of the free fall is greater on the Earth than it is on the moon. How do the mass and weight of the space rocket on the moon compare with their values on the Earth? So we know that mass is an intrinsic property of matter and mass will not change. Mass will be constant. If the person is on moon or the person go anywhere, mass will not change. So same as on Earth. But weight is a force. Weight is mass times g. And when we go to any other planet, and the g value will be different, so the weight will be different. And we know that g moon means the gravitational constant g on moon is 1 by 6th of g earth. So g is reduced there. If g is reduced, then weight will be reduced, less than on the earth. Option C is right one. Fifth question. A shopkeeper pours rice into a dish that hangs from a spring balance. He records the reading. A customer buys some pasta. The shopkeepers notice that the reading on the spring balance with just pasta in the dish is the same as it was with just rice in the dish. Which quantity must be the same for the rice and for the pasta? Since it is a spring balance and we measure weight with the spring balance. So the answer is option D. Weight. The quantity weight is same for the rice and the pasta. A student determines the density of an irregularly shaped stone. The stone is slowly lowered into a measuring cylinder partially filled with water. Which other apparatus does the student need to calculate the density of the irregularly shaped stone? It's a very simple, easy question. We know that density is mass divided by volume. Now you can measure volume from this arrangement. So measuring cylinder is used to calculate the volume. In order to calculate the mass, you need a balance. So balance is the right answer. Four objects are moving. Which object has a zero resultant force acting on it? We know that if a resultant force acting on a body is zero, its speed must be constant. Why? Let's try to understand that, and it should be in a straight line. Now let's try to understand why. Because if force is zero, it means mass time acceleration is zero. Mass, and what is acceleration? It is change in velocity divided by change in time. Change in time, and this is zero. It means change in velocity divided by change in time is zero, means change in velocity is zero. You can pick the numerator here. Change in velocity is zero means velocity is constant. Velocity is constant. If there is no change in the velocity, it means velocity is constant. And if velocity is constant, velocity has two things, magnitude and direction. So magnitude is constant and direction will be constant. Both things are constant. Magnitude is constant, it means speed is constant. Direction is constant, it means the object is moving in a straight line. So option D is right one. I would advise you to please watch videos based on force, and the link is given in the description. You can check the video for more detail. The diagram shows a uniform meter rule. The rule is pivoted at its midpoint. Here it is the midpoint. A weight of 4 Newton is suspended from the rule at the 5 centimeter mark. Here the rule is held by a string at the 30 centimeter mark. Here there is a string. The rule is in equilibrium. What is the upward force that the string exerts on the rule? We know that the rule is in equilibrium. It means the total anticlockwise movement is equal to the total clockwise movement. And the force 4 Newton produces a anticlockwise movement. And this force, let's suppose this is a force F here. So this force string and this is suspended. So there will be an upward force here, and this force will produce a clockwise movement. Calculate the anti-clockwise movement. So anti-clockwise movement is 4 times, movement is what? Movement is force multiplied by the perpendicular distance of the force from the pivot. And you can see that this distance is 4.5 centimeter. This should be equal to the clockwise movement. Let's suppose the force F is acting on the string, and F produces a clockwise movement. So force times the perpendicular distance of the force from the pivot, it is 2 centimeter. Now the force is 4 times 4.5 divided by 2. It is 2 times 4.5, which is 9.0 Newton. So option D is right here. Then I again suggest you to please watch a detailed video where we have discussed how to calculate moment of force. An irregularly shaped metal plate is freely suspended from a point P and is in equilibrium as shown. Point Q is vertically below P. Which statement about the position of the center of gravity of the metal plate is correct? Since it is an irregularly shaped body. So there is a procedure how to find the center of gravity if a body does not have a perfect shape. Again, please watch a video. The link is attached here. And it is at P, it is at Q, we cannot say. D is the correct answer. Further investigation is needed to determine its position. Which row about the change of energy in the energy store must be correct? Let's start with option A. Water pumped up to a high altitude dam, if this is a process. So what will be the energy store? Gravitational potential energy of water. Yes, and change of energy in a store increases. Now, if the energy store, this is the gravitational potential energy of a store, and the water is pumped up to a high altitude, H is basically increased, and the gravitational potential energy formula is mgh. So if H is increased, the change in energy store means the energy will increase. So option A is right one here. A rock of weight 50 Newton falls a vertical distance of 7 meter from rest. What is the change in the gravitational potential energy store of the rock? Now the distance is going to decrease here because it is falling, and this is the vertical distance of 7 meter, and the formula is mgh. Mg is the weight is 50 Newton, so 50 multiplied by h, it is 7 meter, should be 350 joule. 350 joule decreases because it is falling down, so the distance h is decreasing here. A child runs up a set of stairs 4 times. The time taken for each run is recorded. The time taken for each run is recorded. Which time is measured when the child's useful power is greatest? When when the running of the child starts, as the time passes out, the child will be exhausted and some part of the energy will be used to overcome his tiredness. So 10 seconds is the right answer. So option A is right. A woman has a weight of 600 Newton. She stands on a horizontal floor. The area of her feet in contact with the floor is this much. What is the pressure she exerts on the floor? Now, the formula for pressure is force per unit area. Force means the weight exerted by the woman. It is 600 Newton divided by the area. It is 0.050. So, this is equal to, so this is equal to 1.2 times 10 to the power 4 Newton, 4 Newton per meter square. Option C is right. Gases, liquids and solids are made up of small particles. Which row gives the relative separations of the particle? So I hope you remember this diagram, the molecular arrangement of particle. For solids, the separation of the particle is negligible. They are tightly packed, and for liquid, they are close together. Not as much as in solid, but still they are close together. And for gas, they are far apart. So option C is right. Which statements about evaporation of the water are correct? Statement 1 says evaporation causes the remaining liquid to cool. Is it right? Yes, it is right, because all the molecules that have, let's suppose these are the water molecule, and the water is kept on fire. So all the molecule having more energy will come to the surface of the water and they will evaporate. So this is right. Evaporation causes the remaining liquid to cool because the molecule which have more energy or more temperature, they will leave the surface. So the evaporation causes the remaining liquid to cool is right. Now option 2 says during evaporation the more energetic particles escape from the surface of the liquid. Yes, this is the reason. That's why Option 1 is right. Evaporation happens only at 100 degrees centigrade. This is wrong. Since evaporation is a surface phenomena, it can happen at any temperature. And at 100 degrees centigrade, it is the boiling process. Boiling, for boiling, 100 degrees centigrade is a necessary temperature. Which surface is the worst absorber? White is a bad absorber. Black is a good absorber. So in case of worst absorber, it should be white. Now if the surface is shiny, so it will reflect most of the radiation falling on it. So option D is right. Shiny white. The diagram shows graph of displacement against time for 4 waves. All the graphs are drawn to the same scale. Which waves has the largest amplitude and the highest frequency? So you can see here, if you understand the graph or how to plot a wave, the largest amplitude is here. This is the largest amplitude. This is the largest amplitude on the scale. This reading is lower for all graph, you can see. The peak value on the y-axis is the amplitude, and this is largest for A. Now the frequency, what is the frequency? The number of turns in a given cycle. So the time period of this wave, if you see, let's say, this is the time period. In this time period, it completes its one cycle. So in a given time period, if you check the number of turns, these number of turns are highest in case of A. You can check how. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's suppose 1 and 2. It is easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 4 blocks here on the time axis, you see total number of waves 2. Here 1, 2, 3, 4. In 4 blocks here, it is not even 1.5 wave. 1, 2, 3, 4. For 4 blocks, it is only one cycle of the wave is completed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for 4 block, 1 cycle and 2 cycle. So for A and C, you can see, however, the frequency is same. Frequency is same in both case, but amplitude is largest in case A. So option A is right. A student draws a diagram to show the direction of the light ray reflecting off a plane mirror. What are the correct terms for the lines drawn? Line 1 is the incident ray. The arrow is toward the plane mirror. Line 3 is the reflected ray and line 2 is a normal, perpendicular to the surface of the mirror. So option C is right. Which diagram shows the dispersion of white light by a glass prism? Now if you see option A, dispersion of white light by glass prism means the white light will be dispersed into 7 of its color. That makes a white light Vibgyor, and Vibgyor. And the red color light will be least deviated and violet color light will be most deviated. So in option A, you can see that when the light crosses the surface of the prism and enters into a different media, it should break in different component. But it is not the case in A. So option A is not right. In option C, you can see that when light passes from prism to air, here, let's draw a normal to the surface. So light must go away from the normal, because if light passes through more dense to less dense medium, ideally the light should go away from the normal, but this is not the case in option C. So in Option D, there is no change in the path of the light. You can see it is a straight line. So this is also wrong. In option B, you can see that the violet light goes away from the normal when the light passes from prism to air. And option D is right. Same with the red light. Thank you for watching this video. For rest of the question of this paper, we will upload video soon. Thank you very much.